Hello again, FCall here. And am I an aspiring game developer? I suppose I'm just a game developer. If I'm making a game, I'm definitely still aspiring. This isn't anything particularly complicated, as you can see. But I've certainly got the workings of a prototype coming together. You know, we've got movement, which took more time than I would care to admit, especially considering that I've already done it in the past. I made a ball, and I gave it this horrible texture that you can see part of in the corner. Which I then replaced with this little doodad, which is a marble that I sort of modelled the interior of in Blender. It looks kind of rubbish though, so I'm probably going to redo it a little bit. But other than that, things are going quite well. I started on that infinite scrolling, lots of different tiled levels snapping to each other that I had in my initial MVP, but something that I've realised quite early on is that actually that's quite fiddly, and it means a lot of level design, whereas a small number of, hopefully, if not high quality, then high concept levels will maybe be easier for me or my particular skill set. So I'm focusing more on the timey-wimey, time and other fiddly concepts component of my game design. And so here what we have is what's probably going to end up being level 2. Everything's stripped back to its basics. You can't move left to right, you can't move up and down. You can only move backwards and forwards. Why? Well, this represents movement. You know, we've got a 3-dimensional universe, and then we can move in time as well. We don't really have a choice but to move in time. So here we'll start looking at just movement. And then, when we move on to the next level, we notice we've got 2 different dimensions now. Except what's the problem here? You still can't move left and right. You can only move backwards and forwards. But now, when your ball is rolling, you move in the other direction, whether you want to or not. But as soon as you stop moving in that direction. So this second axis of movement, you can't directly control, but it represents time. And that's the beginnings of explaining time. But then, what on earth is this? Because this isn't time, this is space. We've got a 2-dimensional little Bomberman, Pac-Man, just a little maze grid. But then it ends here. We can't see the rest of the board. Oh, that's odd. There are things here, but I can't see them. So it's almost as if this is Richard Feynman's, which is why this is called Feynman 1. This is Richard Feynman's idea of the chessboard, the grand chessboard that is the universe, where we are only permitted small glances at the board, or maybe only a part of the corner of the board, and we have to discover, based on what we can see, what the rules might be. And so here what we can do is we can press a button and switch to using a cursor. And we can mark out, was that usable? Could I get there? We make a small experiment, I bumped into something, and then I record the result. And then I make another small experiment, I bumped into something, and I can record the result. And it means that over time, I will get an accurate picture of how to solve this maze. And this is the way I think is the best way to think about the world, is everything is just a series of small experiments, and use what information you gain, not necessarily what somebody else has told you, but what you've been able to determine for yourself in order to reach value judgments about your environment. And so that's kind of it's not really the Stanley Parable. It's not really Marble Madness either. It's some weird fiddly little thing in the middle. But I'm still making it on Twitch, so please come have a look and check it out. Maybe it'll be something that'll hold your interest when I'm done with it. Is that about right? Is that the way the level works? I think it is. Well, I know it is. That's the spoiler, isn't it? But there we go. So that's what I've been up to. I've got kind of a working prototype of my game, and I'm slowly working through adding additional concepts, fiddly things to explain. And I strongly suspect this lovely piece of music will become at least partially important. But for now, I guess I'll see you around. Thanks for watching.